people killing Aga 1 after killing Aga 2, right before they go in the Ganon, if they did not need to do it for Dark World access. So just weird things like that. But we are off to a start and getting our first lift upgrade right in Uncle's house, right in Link's house, rather. That's a really nice item to find right off the bat.
Yeah.
And so we do have some technical issues over on Schwartz's side. Fortunately, he will be back online. It's not going to be a one-player race, but we're gonna have to wait and see what he finds for a little while and just focus on Wong's side. But getting the mitts is nice, and this is an Uncle Short sword, so it's not a random weapon. I like mitts early in standard mode because you're not going to have to worry about doing the bomb farming. You can just do backup escape later on if you have to.
Yeah, that's true. And the Uncle Short Sword is pretty nice, pretty comfy. I mean, you don't need to worry about having to do bomb strats or anything. But I don't know. Like, after the last tournament, with all the wackiness you'd see in the escape segment, I do kind of miss that mode.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun in the standard tournament. The different modes in this tournament, they're definitely interesting, and inverted in particular is just really amazing. I can't imagine all the work that went into that. It looks fun, and it's fun to watch, but the difficulty level is just really, really hard. This nice standard mode is just so much more consistent.
Yeah, and we find a mirror here in the castle, which is actually really nice if these players remember to use it after picking up Zelda. I can save some time walking up the stairs here.
Yeah, Wong not picking up that big 20. You definitely want to pick up some early rupees when they drop in sufficient quantities. Early mirror, that's always fun because I love it when players will use the mirror in the sanctuary after the escape sequence, and it dumps them back at Hyrule Castle.
That is actually an interesting route, because then they can do the route towards Kakariko Village from the south instead of from the north. Wonder if we'll be seeing that today at all.
Well, the shovel there does make that a little bit more of a possibility. The southern Kakariko route that you're talking about is something that some players will prefer in open mode a little bit more than in this mode. But the shovel, lets you route in the digging spot.
Yep. prdwong needs to worry about his health a little bit. Down to half a heart. He does get a bomb drop beforehand, so he's going to be able to check the last 3 chests in the sewer segment.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
There we see the mirror in action, saving a little bit of time. Hopefully prdwong remembers to switch away from it instead of accidentally mirroring back to the entrance of the castle when he says, or when he wants to use a bomb in the sewer.
That can definitely happen, and I've seen it happen, and it's really funny. But fortunately, he remembers to pick up those heart refills there. You're right; he was down to just a half heart, and that chain chomp boss, not the chain chomp boss, but the ball boss is it does a lot of damage, and it's tricky with the fighter sword.
Yeah, that's why a lot of players will opt to use the pots to kill the guard there, because 2 pots will kill it, 1 pot will take him to half health. So it's only like 4 slashes after that. Another thing about standard mode, which a lot of people probably know, is the free light cone you get in the escape sequence. That free light cone goes away, for the rest of the light world and dark world.
Absolutely, yeah. A very cooperative Keyrat gets his first try, and he does remember to switch to the bombs, so we get to find out what the back of escape. Just the big 20, our map, and another big 20. So there's gonna be 1 more item in Sanctuary, but this has still been a pretty nice escape sequence with the gloves I'll call the gloves part of the opening. The gloves in the mirror makes this a really nice opening start to the seed.
Yeah, 3 major items is really good this early, but it does make me wonder if Kakariko is going to be a bit light on items, or if this is just going to be the jettest of jet seeds and just deposit everything into our pockets.
We're making up on rupees. If he had picked up that one big 20, he would have had enough. He's still a little bit short, but with Blind Side in the well, shouldn't have any problems with rupees. Key question always at this point is, do you go for the lumberjack check or not? And he looks like prdwong is skipping the lumberjack check.
Yeah, a lot of runners don't like to do it until they have the gloves and or the ability to actually beat Agahnim, because that is the check that the game does to, allow you to get into Lumberjack Cave. Yep, so far just some arrows here in the forest, and we're gonna fall down a pit and see just a piece of heart.
Like I said, we got some nice early progression, so we have to just kind of do the pick up the filler items at the moment. But I do like that tier 3 tree pull prize being the 4 bombs there.
Yeah, that save and quit was a bit interesting, considering you're right next to Kakariko. prdwong is heading over to the dam area first, which is good because you can save a little bit of time with that mirror, just deleting a block from existence.
Yeah, this is an interesting route. I have seen several players, do this. They do the South Shore stuff first. If they find a bottle, they can do the bottle vendor. I'm sorry, the sick kid rather. When they make their first Kakariko trip, if they pick up the flute, they can activate it. And they also have the shovel, so they can route that in on their way up. It's not an uncommon route, but it's definitely less common than the standard Kakariko route, which is, I guess, why it's called the standard Kakariko route.
Yep. We do have a shovel, but prdwong is going in the opposite direction, so I don't know if we're going to be seeing the dig spot anytime soon.
Well, my guess is that, after we get the 5 items here in Mini Moldorm, we'll probably see Ice Rod Cave, and a save and quit right back to Link's house is going to let him do the dig spot in the way to Kakariko. But the Moon Pearl and the Mitts, wow.
So that's Dark World access right there. And it's Dark World access from Kakariko, so maybe prdwong did make the right call here, because he can clear out Kakariko of items and then just run directly into Village of Outcasts.
Yeah, we might see him actually start back at the Sanctuary now and, taking a death, unfortunately.
That's interesting, because if Ice Rod Cave has something important, prdwong might not go back there for quite some time.
Well, what I was going to speculate is we could have seen a start at the Sanctuary and then immediate Dark World access, and with the mirror he can work his way down and just he can get the Southern Dark World checks, and that mirror really comes in handy. But we're seeing the normal Southern route. Yeah,
Schwartz's stream came back, and it looks like we found some things in Kakariko: the flute and a bottle and the blue boomerang. So Kakariko's not a bad play either, especially considering Schwartz can also check Sick Kid while he's here.
I think that was the moment there where Schwartz realized that his video just came back on. We saw him pause.
Sick Kid has some explosives for us today. And don't ask him where he got them. prdwong finds nothing of interest in the time trial, and nothing of interest in the library.
Yeah, there's just rupees on the race game. So we got a little bit of a high five coming up here. There we go.
Comfy high five. So yeah, now Schwartz is basically going to be doing the same things Pretty Wrong did and vice versa. So Pretty Wrong's going to pick up that flute, that boomerang, and that bottle. Going to have to go a bit out of his way to turn in the bottle at the sick kid, but not really a suboptimal play. But Pretty Wrong is also going to be able to hop directly into the Dark World from Kakariko here.
Yeah, a little bit of an odd save and quit there from Schwartz. Maybe just muscle memory there. Presumably he did activate his flute, even if we didn't see it, and would have been able to get down to location number 7. Yeah, that's a little bit of a time loss there, walking down to the dam.
Honestly, like, if you get the flute so early, it's really easy to just forget it even exists. Unfortunately for Schwartz, he didn't use the mirror to save a little time here.
Yeah, it's possible that, with the technical issues, he just has to take a few minutes to get refocused. But I'm hoping that he just forgot to use the flute rather than forget to activate it, because that'll be an unfortunately an extra trip back to Kakariko. Maybe we'll see if he comes out of Mini Moldorm Cave if he decides to flute over to 8.
Yeah, at this point, I'm more interested in what's in the Village of Outcasts. We do have everything we need to finish blind as well.
Yeah, and with really interesting seed. I mean, we have vanilla pendants in the light world here, so Thieves Town is going to be just like every Dark World dungeon is going to be crystals. So we're going to see that early Thieves Town play. Without the hammer, we might end up leaving an item behind. In the big chest. It's always the risk that you take, but I would not be surprised to see Pretty Wrong make that early Thieves Town play.
Yeah, pendant or crystal. I mean, it's going to have to be done at some point, so might as well just do it now. It's 4 items. You do run the risk, as you said, of not being able to get what's in the big chest, but ever since they updated the key logic to allow for self-locking keys, I don't worry too much about entering Thieves Town without a hammer.
It's not a big risk. It's an easy dungeon to get back to if you need to. Schwartz, he got the gloves and he is just immediately going to the Dark World.
That looks like Pretty Wrong is heading back to Ice Rod Cave.
Yeah, that's this is a lot of time for a one-off location, but he did die coming here earlier. It's not hard to get back here with the flute, and he probably does not want to leave that item behind. Just mentally wants to cross off this section.
Mm-hmm. Nothing good for us in the chest game. And the magic cape is at Ice Rod, so we'll see if that's required for anything. Whenever anybody gets up to the Bumper Cave ledge.
That could actually be interesting that he did this, because he has the mirror, so he can also do the Graveyard Ledge, and if there's something up there on Bumper Ledge, he'll be able to get everything done in a single trip. But he's going to the Meyer Shed instead, getting a lot of these Overworld checks done.
I definitely like the Meyer Shed play. We do see Ether is the medallion of choice, so it's vanilla. Complain to Vitor.
It is a little bit weird getting a Meyer area check at 14 minutes in though. It just feels like, oh wow, already?
I don't dislike it just because it's really quick to get here. Plus, Pretty Wrong can check Checkerboard Cave and then also go into Desert Palace. And if Desert Palace, it doesn't require the boots, we can just clear that. Well, I guess we can. We need fire. But we can clear out the main area.
A 2-dig magic powder, so that's nice for Schwartz. That puts the magic bat in logic now. Having the mirror, we can get there from the Dark World. A lot of options.
So that's interesting. Pretty wrong. Going to Agina's cave before checking Desert Palace at all.
Yeah, it's he looks like he's just really focused on just crossing off like all these overworld locations. Schwartz is prioritizing item density. Prioritize Kakariko first. Doing Village of Outcasts. He's doing a little bit of stuff on the side quest now, the Smith's Chain, but this does give him, a sword and of course the magic bats here as well. So there is still a few things over here.
Vanilla swordsmiths. That's pretty good. Schwartz is going to be able to do the magic bat here, but he's going to have to leave the purple chest behind, or come back with a different, Dark World portal.
Yeah, I don't blame him at all for this call. The purple chest would be a long walk at this point, and he's going to have to come back to do hammer pegs later on anyway. So it seems to be a decent time to do magic bat. Only 50 rupees though. Unfortunately, not another sword.
All right, Schwartz saving and quitting. Will probably be heading back to Village of Outcasts, or maybe up the mountain. I don't know. We also haven't seen what's in Sahasrala's hut. Some cash and some cash is fire-locked in Misery Mire. So that's both of our items in the left side of Misery Mire. So that means the big key has to be somewhere not on the left side.
And that's actually a pretty decent tip to get. Being able to skip the cutscene room in Mire is a nice time savings. You can just go left, grab the key, and then head right, and you save quite a bit of time in that dungeon.
Alright, so Pretty Wrong finds a big key and a small key in Desert Palace, so it is clearable once we find a fire source. The thing is there anything on this lamp? I guess, did he check the lamp?
I don't know if he went there first. I was watching the restream and he didn't check it. Both times I saw him walk past there. So.
Oh no, he did check it. Because he got the hints.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Chat says heart piece on the lamp.
Okay, so that's every... I guess that's every item. I don't know why you bothered checking that chest, because there's only 2 items. There's a heart piece and a heart container. Just a big 20 here in our south of the Haunted Grove Ledge cave. I am the Schwartz. Going back into the Dark World, gonna be checking Stump Kid and some other stuff, probably either turning in the purple cave chest before or after Hype Cave, which I think is gonna be the first Hype Cave check.
Yeah, we have not seen Hype Cave. We didn't see it on Wong's side. I think that you would probably do maybe turn in the purple chest and do the Bombos tablet, then work your way up the Hype Cave. If you get the hammer, then you'll be able to continue north the pyramid. That might be a nice route.
Yeah, we need the book from Bombos tablet first. That's an argument for checking Hype Cave because it might have the book in it, and you won't have to double back.
Yeah, I am off my game today.
So we don't have the hammer or flippers to get to the eastern side of the Dark World, and as far as I'm aware right now, if the hammer is a bit of a pain to find, that means that the Dark World navigation is going to be quite annoying. So hopefully we're going to find the hammer soon. Nobody wants to go without the hammer for too long.
Yeah, I would much rather get the hammer before the flippers. You don't want to have to keep going to the Eastern Dark World via Kakariko over and over again. I've seen races.
Okay, so sorry.
I mean I've seen races that had hammer locked behind the Pyramid Fairy, and those were very time-consuming races.
Yeah. So prdwong finds that the cape is not required, at least not for Bumper Cave. We don't have our other invincibility item, but there are other ways to get around that if need be. So I'm the Schwartz, not really missing out on much of anything for skipping out on Ice Rod Cave so far.
Yeah, he finished up the purple chest. That's just heart container, and he's doing his desert area checks. Wong is done up here in the northern Dark World.
Yeah, so we do have access to a lot of the mountain right now. In fact, almost everything except for Hookshot Cave. So I'm surprised that nobody's heading over that direction just yet. Something I don't think these runners want to see right now is the flippers before we find the hammer. Because if we find the flippers, that means we do have access to East Dark World, but we need to take the long way to get there.
So we don't have any East Death Mountain access. So we can get to Hera, and we can we can check Spectacle Rock, but we're still limited to, without the hookshot of the hammer, to East Death Mountain. But we have, there are things up there we can do. We also haven't seen anything in the eastern area yet. Sasha's Closet, Eastern Palace, we haven't seen, and we haven't actually gone into Thieves Town yet. So there's that.
It just goes to show how important the hammer is, that I constantly forget that it's required for certain things. But yeah, you're right. And Chad is right. We do need the hammer.
Well, Chat's always there to remind us of these types of things.
So we can still do some of Hera. We might not be able to clear it, and we might have to leave an item in the basement. But yeah.
Well, Wong going into Thieves Town, and like you said earlier, there's the first 4 items that we can get up in the front very quickly. He can go and full clear this dungeon, save for the big chest without the hammer, but it's not that an uncommon play to come in here without it. So I expect he will full clear this.
Mm-hmm. So right now I'm actually a little surprised. This is the first delve into Thieves Town at 22 minutes when we get the mitts within like 8. So I'm surprised that nobody came in here earlier.
Yeah, both runners have focused on overworld checks to some extent.
It does seem a bit weird when you have the ability to full clear a dungeon and you have to clear it anyway, so you put it off, but I mean, these runners know what they're doing. Oh, the old man has silver arrows for us today, so that's good. That'll be good for when we actually find some way to use it.
That was a nice old man rescue from Schwartz there. Not a super hard dark room to do, but definitely, as far as we know, an out of logic dark room. But that does give him the save and continue point, which is very useful with the flute.
So something chat was pointing out that is also interesting is with the Master Sword in hand, we also have the ability to clear Agahnim once we have the lamp. Or, I mean, we could do it without the lamp, but logically speaking, you need the lamp to get upstairs. And that would give us access to East Dark World, which I mean, it is all dungeons. We're gonna have to do it regardless, but it's Aga is something you typically want to put off until you have maybe at least Tempered Sword and probably the boots.
I would be really surprised to see either player do Aga, until the very end of the game, even if they find the lamp. Unless Aga is required to get to the right side of Dark World. There's a lot of other things. Schwartz is doing Hera, Wrong is doing Thieves Town. We still have the eastern area we can do. Aga is right. They're gonna have to do it eventually.
Yep. So we get a hint saying nothing of interest is in the big chest at Swamp Palace, which takes that bullet off the table of potentially missing the big key or having to double dip the dungeon because Argus has the big key or anything like that.
That's a decent hit. I mean, depending on the big key placement. My favorite Swamp Palace hint is the one that says there's nothing on the left side of Swamp. You can't beat that one.
Yeah, I definitely like the hints that tell you what items are at out of the way locations. The boots are in Ganon's tower, so this is going to be a fairly bootless seed, at least for quite a while.
Wow, that's not the hint that you want to see. I mean, you want to know where they are, but you want to know that they're not there. I mean, fortunately, the boots, aren't locking anything. That does tell us that we're going to get the hook shot for our Misery Mire access prior to Ganon's tower, with Mire being a crystal. It's a little bit of knowledge about where the hook shot could be, but they would rather just have the boots.
Alright, blind fight, as everybody probably knows by now, is fairly scripted if you're efficient enough at killing. prdwong doing a bang-up job, almost perfect, and iamtheschwarz takes down Moldorm for the red pendant. I wasn't counting items. Did we get both items in Hera, or is there something downstairs?
I'm gonna have to rely on chat for the to answer that question. I know we got. I think that was our last item on Thieves Town that we got on blind right there. So I think we're done in Thieves Town. But yeah, we did see both items in Hera as well. So, and the chat confirms that Thieves Town had the small key in the big chest. So we're good on both of those dungeons.
All right, we're seeing our first look into Sahasrara's closet at like 27 minutes. At least I think this is our first look.
Yeah, this is just 10 hours, and there's our lamp and another bottle. That's nice.
So that's good, but also, again, opens up Aga immediately. So we could be having to do Aga 1 just to get access to East Dark World, just to find items there.
Well, it's actually interesting. I mean, knowing that we have to do Aga 1 anyway, being an all dungeons seed, I'm actually a little surprised that Schwarz doesn't head over there and do it now, because with the mirror, he could do, Pod and Eastern together, and if the hammer's sitting there on the pyramid, then that's something that will segue very nicely into Palace of Darkness. Yeah,
and you would be able to skip out on having to enter Eastern Palace twice if the bow isn't in here.
Exactly. If you're gonna have to do it anyway, it's something that you could argue, but you could also argue that you're here anyway, and if you're just gonna commit yourself to potentially doing an Eastern double dip, then so be it. If you find the hammer in Eastern, you can also walk down and take the portal at 5.
Yes, if only the seed were so merciful.
Yeah, but Wong did pick up his second sword upgrade now, so Master Sword for both of our players, and he's doing his Southern Dark World checks. He already did the digging spot earlier, so it's one fewer check that he has to round in at this time.
All right, so we have one item here in Eastern Palace of 3. One item could be locked behind Armos, so there's a possibility that Schwarz is doing this only just for 2 things, and one of them was already junk.
Yeah, there's another one. There's our heart piece. So we're gonna get the big key in the next chest, and I missed that hint.
Did that say some bombs and some bombs requires a big red bomb?
I think it did.
Alright, so nothing good is in the pyramid unless you really like bombs, but I mean, you had to like bombs to get there anyway, because you're carting a giant bomb behind you.
Yeah, I just checked the restream. That is what it says. Some bombs and some bombs requires a big bomb. So Pyramid Fairy is off the table as far as you know, having any progression items. Also importantly, it won't have our hammer. That's always nice to know.
Yeah, a unique item is underwater. We did not find a unique item at the dam, so that's one location that hint is not talking about.
So I actually don't know what locations that are considered underwater.
I believe it's the dam, it's the waterfall ferry. I don't know if catfish counts.
I mean, does all Swamp Palace count as underwater?
Good question. So we find our final item in Eastern Palace, and no dice, nothing good in Eastern. So it's really starting to look like the Aga play is where we need to be heading.
Well, that'll let us get a look at the pyramid, and we can do catfish and then pod immediately afterward. So there's a lot of items over there. Schwarz didn't get the Ice Ride Cave check initially, so he's going to knock that one out just in case this is his progression item. But we know it's not.
Well, it kind of is in a way, because it's another way to get into into Aga Tower. So here's the thing: prdwong is going to be able to see 2 of the chests that are underwater here in the waterfall cave. And then there's only 2 other chests, I believe, after that, which are the two flooded chests in Swamp Palace. Oh, there's our unique item, potentially, in the Fire Rod. So, Fire Rod allows us to finish Desert Palace. It's something we need to do at some point. The pendant layout makes me wonder if the pedestal might have something good for us today.
Yeah, that's probably the unique item that the tip was referring to, but you don't know for sure. Now you gotta kick Monday. He got that through a sequence break because he did the fake flipper. So it's nice to have, but you know, I don't know if he's gonna really depend on it too much.
All right. So in terms of uncovered ground that isn't blocked by Agahnim, what else do we have to check? Or is that like nothing?
Well, neither runner has done Zora. We just saw prdwong go up there and show us what the ledge item was. An out of sequence item, but just trash. Didn't have enough money, and it's a little bit surprising this far into the game not to have Zora money yet. But that's one item. Let's see, what else haven't we seen?
I think maybe nothing. Still woods.
We don't know what's on Lumberjack, but we know the boots are in Ganon's tower, so that's going to be a long ways off. Answering question from chat. We saw all the Village of Outcast stuff, and I think prdwong actually did go into Skullwoods and saw the front of it. We didn't see the back because we needed the Fire Rod, but
now we have that.
That's like I said, that's a sequence break item. So, and just a trash tip there on Spectacle Rock.
Yeah, it's especially trash because who would eat beans on toast?
Yeah, I don't think there's. I mean, we're good to see the front of Skullwoods again over here on Schwartz's side as Wong goes in, and I guess we'll do Tower of Hera. I think it. I mean, given the fact that you have to do Aga 1 anyway in this particular game mode, I don't see any reason why you would do the back of Skullwoods before you would just go and do Aga.
Well, there's Pretty Wrong's Zora money. Got Aga on the brain. But unfortunately, we couldn't be farther from Zora. Well, I guess, technically speaking, we could, but if you're trying to go there in a straight line, it's probably one of the furthest places you could be.
I suppose you could do the back of Skullwoods and gamble that maybe that's going to have the hammer, which would mean that the flippers have to be somewhere that isn't behind the hammer, but it could still save you some time. I think that you're unlikely to try to go out of your way that much to capitalize off a sequence break, though. And in my opinion, that's the thing about all dungeons mode is that if you're going to have to go everywhere essentially, so there's not too much of an incentive to try putting things off. This game really isn't that hard to backtrack to most locations.
Yeah, especially if you have the flute. Nice bomb jump set up here on Pretty Wrong side. Also gets the unfortunate hint that the boots are in Ganon's tower, consigning himself to walking around like a peasant.
Yeah. So where's Schwartz headed now? He's probably going to Thieves Town. So Wong still could dip into Eastern. He hasn't done Eastern yet. That was just Schwartz that did the Eastern dip.
Yeah, but the thing is, does Pretty Wrong want to go into Eastern or head into Aga Tower? He could save a bit of time on his opponent if he decides to just go to Aga Tower first. If that turns out to be, what leads to progression. He might also want to go into and finish up Skullwoods, but that is also a thing you might want to just put off until you have the 3 pendants, if you could do that.
Yeah, I like Schwartz's knowledge of that. The bunny beam under the pot there. It's a nice health refill if you know it's there and you have the powder. Knowing little things like that, it's just a great edge you can get. But Wong does appear to be making that Eastern play, so he's making the same choices that Schwartz has made.
Well, oh yeah, that's true. He doesn't have the lamp yet, so as far as he's concerned, Aga isn't in logic. He's going to find the lamp here, but now that's going to be a critical choice what he does immediately after finding it.
Yeah, if he goes to Eastern directly, then he'll be following the same path that Schwartz did. He has the opportunity. We know that Eastern didn't pay off, so he has the opportunity to gain some time by making that Aga play right now. Let's see what he decides to do, if he flutes away or if he heads into Eastern.
Looks like he's heading into Eastern, which is good news for Schwartz. He's going to have some additional time to, I don't know, hop around, eat some flies. Because he's a frog.
Oh, actually, Wong has changed his mind. He's making the Aga play.
Alright, that's good. Then Schwartz needs to hurry it up.
Yeah, I mean, well, Schwartz he's doing the dungeon and he's gonna get everything out of here. So this is definitely not a waste of time. But really, really want to know what's on that pyramid now, because we got pyramid, we got the catfish. We might actually see Wong do the catfish and Zora combo before heading in the pod, because he does have that mirror. So that's not a bad idea if the hammer isn't sitting right there on the pyramid.
Yeah, and also, I mean, there's no guarantee that Palace of Darkness isn't bow blocked. I mean, our runners both have potions and can bypass it, but logically speaking, there's less of a chance of something interesting being in there if it is bow blocked.
Exactly. I love Pre-Wrong taking advantage of that sequence broken fire rod to totally destroy those first 2 guards. And even with the Master Sword, they can still take quite a bit of time.
So right now, I would place pretty squarely in the lead. I mean, we don't know 100% for sure whether or not this is the only play, but considering he's done everything Schwartz has done and more, and is also halfway through the tower already, he has a few minutes on Schwartz, who spent some extra time going through Eastern Palace.
Yeah, probably a few minutes. We're gonna have to go back and do Eastern later anyway to get that crystal. So it's not that big a deal. And the fire rod sequence break, a unique item can be bought. Hint. That could be.
That's helpful.
Yeah, that's the bottle vendor. What else is that? Let's see.
Well, the bottle vendor had the flute, so.
Oh, is that the only item that? I mean.
Well, no. I mean, there's.
Like, does things like digging game count?
Zora. I don't think so. I think it might be just bottle vendor and Zora. Maybe one other thing I'm forgetting. Pretty wrong, dispensing fiery justice on these treacherous knights.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, I'm saying heading into the Aga 1 fight, and Schwartz, making that decision to follow him now at this point. How many blue balls do you think we're gonna get? I'm gonna go for 4.
Let's say 3. I think 3 and 4 are probably the most common.
Yeah, I think like 3 is the most common, just number like math wise, but it can go up to 15. I've never actually seen one though.
Yeah, you have to be supremely unlucky to get 15. There's one.
Well, I've probably personally seen a 15 just due to bad skill, but I haven't seen it, in an official race. And Schwartz doesn't have that fire rod, so he's got to go through the MMG way.
Yeah, he tried a spin strat there that gets them caught on the little, I don't know what wall thing there, barrier, and you can hit them twice with a spin attack, but he messed it up a bit. So unfortunately, waste a little bit more time there.
Not a big time loss, but it is definitely more fun to burn those guys down. Aga 1 is down on prdwong's side, so here's the moment of truth. Anything on the pyramid?
I also wasn't counting the blue balls, so any predictions? I don't know, maybe chat can.
I wasn't counting them either. I just assumed chat would count them. But just a hard piece there on the pyramid, and Wong, he's not heading up to Zora Catfish, so
I don't like this play.
If we find we're bow locked, we're gonna need to do the potion glitch, and if we don't find the hammer up on the front of here, then we're gonna have to head up to the Catfish and Zora.
Yeah, I don't know. The Catfish, Zora, it's just 2 items, but the chances of this place being bow blocked are so high. And I mean, there's also the possibility that it's bow blocked, but also like the hammer is here in the first chest, or even the bow is in the first chest.
Yeah, this is a little bit. I mean, this is a time-consuming dungeon to get back to, just having to walk through the maze a little bit. So you could definitely argue doing those out-of-the-way checks. Having the mirror, you can. Where? I don't know what he's doing.
I'm confused.
I guess he's kind of following along our discussion. He's, he doesn't want to dip into that dungeon without doing these checks, but he has the mirror and he's killed Aga 1. So a save and quit would have taken him right back to the pyramid and let him do Catfish as well as Zora. Right, this route only lets him do Zora.
Yeah, but he also does have the portal there, so if he flutes back, he can just go back into the Dark World. But this does isolate Catfish a bit more.
Well, Schwartz is going to be joining Wong back in the Dark World very soon after killing Aga, so we'll get to see maybe if he gives us the Catfish check that we're all wondering about. But, even if Zora has something, it's still. Oh, that's not interesting. That's not good.
A hook shot at Zora. That's good. That gives us the ability to do East Death Mountain now. I'm wondering if Pretty Wrong is going to be heading to East Death Mountain next, or to
well, he's
going back to his.
He's walking out of here, so I guess he wants to keep his portal.
This is true. Chad is pointing out 2 unique items can be bought this seed. I wonder which one the hint was referring to.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I don't know why he wouldn't have done a save and quit there.
Yeah, it does waste a bit of time compared to just saving and quitting. He might have been a bit put off balance by finding the hook shot there.
Well, my thinking about the hook shot is that wasn't the item that I really wanted to see there, because that does open up all of the East Death Mountain. Which is good for item density, but it's bad for knowing what's in Palace of Darkness. And I really want to know what's in Palace of Darkness. I just want to get the hammer. Just give me the hammer.
Well, you're gonna see it here on Schwartz's end. He is heading into Palace of Darkness as we speak. He also skipped out on Chicken Catfish, I believe.
Yeah, this is potentially the first biggest big diversion between the runners. If we find a different progression item here, then Schwartz might be led in a completely different way before he finds that hook shot, because that's like I said, Zora. Ugh.
Okay, the Cane of Burna is in here. That's our other invincibility item, so it's pretty much useless to us for now. It does consume less magic than the cape, and also damages things with about the same strength as a fighter's sword, but not super useful at this point.
Yeah, I can't do Spike Cave without the hammer, so having 2 invincibility items doesn't help us any. Keys and Pod are so far so good, so we're able to see the back here.
That's a bow. That's a bow on the lonely island.
Yeah, we're gonna want that.
And we do have everything we need to grab it. Pretty Wrong is able to take the slow walk through this through this spiral cave and end up going into the Dark World. Hookshot Caves, next destination after we climb up the Dark World Super Bunny Cave.
Yeah, 6 more items here in the Dark World, and that bow plus knowledge of Trinex. Pre-Wong's route diversions there after picking up that hook shot is absolutely paying off so far. Until
the hammer. Wow, the hammer in Palace of Darkness, only a stone's throw from where it typically is. That's good for Schwartz, but Schwartz definitely still needs to head over to Zora. Luckily for him, picking up the hammer doesn't unlock a ton on its own.
Yeah, it unlocks a couple one-off checks, like it's gonna give him, Spike Cave. It's gonna give him hammer pegs. It's gonna give him the front of Swamp Palace. It could lead him on some, time-intensive checks without actually opening up too many dungeons. He doesn't have any, fortunately, he doesn't have the fire rod yet, so he's not going to be tempted to make that fake flipper into ice gamble that so many people like to make. The double sequence break.
Alright, what do we have in Hookshot Cave today? Oh, did he forget that chest? Half magic.
He did. I hope he's gonna come back for it. He's gonna. Oh, yeah. Unfortunately,
you get to it from here.
No, it would knock you off the ledge. You could probably reach that skull.
He's a little bit too excited to pick up that bow, I think. Forgot a chest.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Schwartz finishes up everything he can do in pod without the bow. Can't get to the boss, and I don't think he didn't do the sequence break on the right hand side. So he's gonna take the northern way here to get over to East Death Mountain. So he'll get all the same spots that Wong's getting.
This is bad for him, though. I mean, he's gonna be able to pick up the bow. Actually, I guess it's not too bad. I mean, Hookshot Cave had half magic, but I guess that's all he's gonna be missing out on.
Yeah, this actually is not hurting him really that much at all. He'll be able to go back and finish pod and Eastern just like Wong is doing, and only that hook shot is really going to hold him back. This could have been a lot worse if he started checking those one-off locations. I completely forgot that he can get over here this way.
Ooh, accidentally got dead rocked. Feels bad, man. Okay, so once Schwartz gets the bow, that's going to bring him back into Eastern Palace and Palace of Darkness. I don't think if nothing else good is in Palace of Darkness, maybe he'll do Zora, but Zora is probably one of the furthest things from his mind right now.
Well, I didn't notice it at the time, but I've saw it on his pause screen, and chat pointed out that he did pick up the flippers in Palace of Darkness. So that puts the fire rod in sequence now, and if he's going to do Waterfall Fairy, he'll probably do Zora. He's got the money, and I think that's a pretty high probability now that he is going to get the hook shot in short order. So they'll both probably be within a minute or so of each other.
Yeah, they have the same amount of crystals right now. prdwong is going to be able to do all of Eastern in one go. Schwartz, however, has cleared a bit more of Palace of Darkness. Pretty much everything on the everything outside of like the bow block stuff.
Yeah, this will be a single dip into both Eastern and Pod for prdwong, where Schwartz has to double dip both of those dungeons. It's definitely a time loss. It's it's not a catastrophic time loss, but it's definitely something you have to account for. Stopping where he did, I mean, right at the entrance to Pod, mirroring, and then saying, "I'm going to go check Zora." An unexpected play, but ultimately worked out really well for prdwong.
There's our favorite hint again. If you like bombs, you'll love this hint. Alright, so Schwartz is going to be able to clear out the mountain except for Hookshot Cave, missing out on half magic. He'll probably be heading right back into Palace of Darkness, Eastern Palace combo, which still places prdwong a little bit ahead. Maybe not as ahead as I thought he was, but yeah.
Yeah, pretty wrong's already done all the water area checks, except for Hobo. So unless there's something of value on Catfish, Catfish is probably, you know, one item that he's never going to go to unless it has required progression. Just, you know, given the way that he routed, that might be one extra location that Schwartz ends up, you know, routing in just for efficiency's sake, coming out of pod.
Yeah. So after Pretty Wrong finishes up Eastern and Palace of Darkness, he'll also be able to do Swamp Palace and Ice Palace. Yeah, I don't think we're missing anything for those two dungeons. Pretty much all we're looking for are medallions and the Canis Amaria.
Yeah, and the Ice Rod for Trimax. But yeah, he'll be able to full clear. I mean, both players will be able to full clear Skull Woods, assuming, you know, Schwartz does go ahead and get the hookshot and fire rod, which makes a lot of sense. You know, ice and full clear swamp as well. That's a lot of progress they can do. So it's going to be a while before I think either player has to, you know, make a gamble at all.
Yeah, it's a bit of a double-edged sword in all dungeons, is the fact that the routing's a bit simpler than if you were playing a typical Ganon seed, but it's also simpler for your opponent. So it's really just coming down to execution in a lot of cases. And Silver Arrows making short work of Armos Knights. Get nothing but a compass because we already cleared out the dungeon, and another crystal.
Yeah, I definitely, you know, there is execution and routing, although it's not as execution heavy as something you'd find like in a swordless mode or hard mode or you know, even an Randomizer. So it's on the easier side of, you know, being an execution dependent seed.
Okay, both of our runners are now in Palace of Darkness. Schwartz has the benefit of just being able to, or just having to do the right side here. I don't know, were we able to check the big chest?
I didn't see where he got the flippers. He might have he might have done the dark maze and the big chest.
Yep. Link is getting some useful advice, just not for this game. Aim at the eyes of the Goma. I don't even think there are any Gomas in this game. I hate this hallway if you don't have the boots. It's just so slow.
Not so bad. I'm looking at where the items are. So there were the flippers at the vanilla big key location, and there's the big key beyond the Bowlock section.
So that does mean we could have an item on the in the big chest if the boss has the map, and then there's an item in there, and Schwartz needs to make a decision whether or not he wants to go back in.
Yeah,
Pretty Wrong isn't gonna have that problem because he's gonna be able to full clear the dungeon from the get-go.
Pretty Wrong, you know, may get the big key, and then already being on the right side might just continue on the Helmosaur and finish him off, and then re-enter the dungeon to do the back. Definitely a possibility. Either way, though, he's going to be able to check that big chest when he does the dark maze, and there's so many other items in the back there. It's not like he's going to skip that area, so we'll at least know what the item is. Or you can take neither of those options and just mirror out.
We can't go to the boss because he didn't find the hammer yet. He does have to go. He does have to go all the way back.
Oh yeah, duh.
We did have a French vanilla hammer. Kind of rare, but it does happen. Wondering if we're going to be seeing a hammer yump though.
Yeah, it looks like he's setting up for it. Or not. Just throw in the bomb.
Everybody's getting debated today.
I know. It's just, this is what happens when I go from 3 races a day to 1 race a month.
And a single silver arrow to the family jewel on Helmasaur yields us a big 20. That is the final item in Palace of Darkness, and I am the Schwartz is sighing a huge sigh of relief.
Yeah.
And also, oh sorry.
No, I'm just saying. Just never mind. Go ahead.
That also gives us the green pendant, which once I am the Schwartz is finished with Eastern Palace, hopefully he remembers to turn in, considering he's right in the area.
Yeah, that's a good point as well. I had the pendants mixed up originally. Someone said vanilla pendants, and I thought the green pendant was Eastern, but nope, I had that wrong. So they'll be coming, they'll be coming out of here at about the same time. I mean, Schwartz just has to kill Armos, and Wong's gonna finish up on Helmasaur. He's gonna head straight back there now, having picked up that hammer. Wong, he's already done the Zora stuff. Ideally for Schwartz, he'll immediately go do the Zora's domain checks as well to get that fire rod and hook shot, and then that'll put him basically in sync.
Yeah, it looks like our runners are about even for the most part. Schwartz might be heading into the Armos fight a little bit sooner than Pretty Wrong. The thing is, Schwartz does need to visit Waterfall and Zora at the very least to catch up to Pretty Wrong.
Yeah, I think the best thing for Schwartz could be like if he goes to Catfish coming out of Pod and finds, a medallion. That's probably his best bet for, gaining a significant amount of time, because that's the one location that Pretty Wrong has essentially orphaned at this point until he does everything else. Either way, though, they still have 3 other dungeons that they can clear.
Silver arrows ravaging the Armos Knights once more. A wonderful sight to behold for anybody who's grinded on the normal strat for that fight. Okay, so the question is, does Schwartz go to Swamp Palace right now? Oh, I guess he still needs the hook shot, so it makes more sense for him to maybe visit the Zora area first.
I love that trick that Schwartz just used. If you're carrying an item, a bomb or a Samaria block, you can walk right through your portal, and he does remember to turn to the green pendant, but it's just a heart piece. So, it's moment of truth. Are we doing water stuff? Looks like it. A very nice single arrow to Helmasaur King finishes them off. This is our first look at the Hylia Island blue mail. That'll be nice to have if either runner decides to pick it up. And this is also our first hobo check. Something that we could have done through a fake flipper, but I don't think either player went up here. Wong did the water. I think Wong probably did the waterfall stuff because he got that hint, and this is not a location underwater, so he didn't go in here to do this. But Wong has also remembered to turn in the green pendant, and he's already done these water checks. So Schwartz done with hobo, and I think that wasn't a miss flute. So he is doing Catfish into Waterfall Ferry and Zora route? Maybe?
And that's definitely a good idea.
Yeah, this is a save and quit to the pyramid might be, would have probably been a little bit faster. This is a little bit of a long walk.
Yeah, I always forget about the save and quit to the pyramid. It's not that often that you need to do Agahnim, and even less often that you have the mirror.
True enough. This is going to give us, that catfish that we were talking about earlier. So we'll know whether or not this is a key location for Wong to have to come back to. Wong, he's got that fire rod, so he's just going and doing the dungeons he can clear. Skull, and then presumably Swamp and Ice.
Considering we have 2 dungeons wide open for us, and no items found in any of them, I don't really think there's anything at Catfish, as much as it pains me to say. But I could be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, well, Schwartz is going to be pleasantly surprised finding the fire rod here and then the hook shot all within about a minute of each other.
Ooh, got a rich fish today, but unfortunately Link is pretty rich already. He's going to be richer still with that the ruby rod.
Yeah, and Wong dodging the bullet there with Catfish not having any key item. So Schwartz just has to pick up this hook shot, and he's doing it, and he'll be following Wong immediately, I imagine. Might do the dungeons in a different sequence though, but still gonna knock out these 3 completable dungeons.
Well, considering Wong had half magic, I don't disagree with this play. Otherwise, I would have probably put it off until at least I had Tempered Sword. We know we can't get the boots until Ganon's Tower, so like the sword upgrade is probably the only thing I'd care about getting before coming back here.
That's a good point. I guess you might want to check what these items are in case you find when you're doing Swamp or Ice, you get really lucky and you find, hey, there's the ice rod and both medallions I need, so I can go mode this now. In the unlikely event that happens, I guess you might want to get Skullwoods checked in advance, but just a compass in the back.
All right, so we are going to be seeing our first delve into Swamp Palace proper. We did see Swamp Palace before, but it was just to grab a hint. A hint that actually was pretty useful in the end. The one that spurred prdwong to check the waterfall cave.
Definitely a good hint. prdwong. I was saying earlier that we saw Schwartz do the hobo in his water area checks, but Wrong has not done that particular water check because it wasn't underwater and he was going for the hint areas. But Chat makes a good point that they could have completed Desert Palace and been able to do the pedestal while they were up there.
Yeah, that's another thing. I was talking about that earlier, but I guess I already forgot. This is all dungeons. The pedestal, is less interesting in all dungeons, but it's definitely interesting if it has something useful in it, like the Cane of Samaria. So yeah, not doing desert first when you know it's clearable is a little weird when you can just grab the pedestal after finishing Mothula.
Well, I'm not sure I would have thought about that either. With having so much open at the moment, it's kind of hard to come up with a perfectly optimal route. There's just so many great locations for the runners to go to. Wong is, I would imagine he would have gone right into Ice. Maybe he's doing the hobo stuff.
Yeah, I like this play. Is that a blue male on the island there?
Yep, that is our blue male, and I don't expect either runner to be picking that up. Maybe Schwartz, if he walks over to Ice coming out of here, might grab it, but I don't think they need it.
Yeah, I believe that was our item in plain sight, or rather, the there was a male upgrade in plain sight, which was one of the hints.
Yeah, the hint system is pretty neat. I've definitely been impressed with it, but I think you have to play quite a few seeds before you know you can incorporate the hints into your gameplay. But that's a nice tempered sword. You're talking about getting a sword before doing Mothula, and there's the sword.
Yeah, we know. Hopefully, these runners remember that nothing good is inside the big chest here. And looks like iamtheschwarz taking the pessimistic realist route of just checking left side swamp. I mean, there's a veritable cornucopia of items that could be over there. If a cornucopia is 2.
I don't know if that's a unit of measurement, but we did see, like, so I'm mapping the first chest of swamp, so we know there's at least one item over here on the left side. I gotta tell you though, even having seen that hint that there's nothing in the big chest, or cache or whatever it was, if I had the big key, I would still open it, just out, like, muscle memory. It's hard to think about all the hints in the moment.
Yeah, I definitely forget about the hints all the time when I'm playing.
You're gonna hook shot. You have the hook shot up. You're gonna hook shot to the big chest. You probably just hit the button and open it before you even give it a second thought. It's more of the type of thing, like if you finish swamp and then you have to go back in for the big chest. That's where you'll think about the hint.
Mm-hmm. I love the falling sprite for Frog. It looks very upset. Oh, the Cane of Samaria in left side Swamp Palace. Now, this prompts the question: will Pretty Wrong bot? Oh, and the Quake Medallion, even though it doesn't do anything for us. 2 unique items, left side of Swamp Palace, paying off. But anyway, is Pretty Wrong going to check left side of Swamp Palace? We shall see in a few minutes, maybe even less.
I think he'll do left side swamp. You don't usually leave 2 unique items behind when you're missing so many things. I think you would do it. That Quake Medallion, that's not going to help us out all this particular seed. The Cane of Samaria, absolutely going to be needed. And Schwartz remembered not to open the chest, although I don't know if he actually has the big key yet.
I don't believe we've seen it.
Alright, well then he didn't remember necessarily.
Now, if he goes back in after finishing off Argus, that'll be a pretty big blunder.
Wong is going right to the back, so this could be a big problem if he does not come back in and get that Cane of Samaria. He's going to know there's 2 unique items after killing the boss, but he might take the gamble. And there's the big key on Schwartz's side, and he's not going up the stairs to open that chest.
Good man. So both of our runners are pretty close to each other. Pretty Wrong does have... Oh, the Ice Rod! That is great! All we need now is the Bombos Medallion, and Turtle Rock is fully clearable. All we need are medallions.
Yes, Swamp is really paying off. Ice Rod... this has been a pretty nice seed. Hour 13 minutes in for an alt dungeon seed, and they have almost everything open to them. They just need those medallions. They know where the boots are. They know they're in GT, so they're not going to be worried about having to search GT and potentially having a torch locked key. They know that, hey, the key could be on the torch, but they know where the boots are to get it.
Yeah, iamtheschwarz needs to be a bit careful here. He only has 2 hearts left. Okay, all the puffs are gone, but he still needs to nail this silver.
Yeah, nicely executed. He's had a few of those close calls on his health. He might want to get that blue mail, But wow, Wong is close calls.
Okay. We're gonna go for the simple and effective 2 spins with Tempered Sword to bring down Argus. Whereas Schwartz asked him how he liked that silver.
Wow, that was tense there. Schwartz remembering not to go back for the big chest. Wong has to go back though. He's got to get those 2 items.
Yeah, but considering he skipped out on Catfish, looks like he's going back in.
Yeah, and Schwartz is going for the blue mail. Something that you don't normally see, but if he's going to route this in with Ice Palace, it's probably a pretty good pickup.
Schwartz is skipping out on Hobo for right now. Might just be bothering to do it once Ice Palace is cleared.
Schwartz did Hobo earlier on as part of his water area check, so he's all done with the water overworld stuff.
Wait,
seriously? Another hit?
Wait, did we already see that?
Yeah, that was a double hint.
No, I mean, did we see that particular tile, or did we literally just have 2 hints?
Yeah, no, that was 2 hints. That was a double hint. The game is just really wants you to know that you're not gonna get them.
Like, hope you like walking, nerd.
The next hint will be the boots are in the last chest of Ganon's tower.
Yeah. The boots are in tile room.
That would be great.
And of course you don't need them to get the big key. Just to rub it in.
I think it's worth it. I mean, if you knew for a fact that the boots were in tile room, I think it's worth the time to get them.
I don't know if they'd save enough time to make it worth your while at that point, but I don't know if anybody's timed it. Schwartz skipping out on that hint tile there, interestingly enough. Unless you forgot about it.
I don't know. I mean, he got the boots hint twice. He might just not want any more bad news.
Yeah. Pretty wrong. Getting the Cane of Samaria, reaching item parity once more with I Am the Schwartz. He was in a little bit of danger there when he decided to skip left side, but balance has been restored to this match.
Yeah, well, doing an Argus first is not a bad play. It's pretty common, but remembering to go back in and get those 2 items was definitely a smart call. And he's also going for the blue mail. Coming down to a half a heart there in Argus fight, I'd say this is a smart move.
Yeah. I mean, on the other hand, you have 15 hearts. Do you really need blue mail at this point?
You have 15 hearts, you have powder. You're in a pretty healthy situation, but you also had a half a heart left at the boss, so I'd say go for the blue mail. Just play it safe.
So Schwartz, looks like Schwartz is skipping out on some of the items here. I don't know if he's found anything in Ice Palace yet, which seems a little dangerous considering. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, he might come back in here.
Considering the only dungeon item he's found so far was the big key, he probably has some manner of items, but he has to burn a green potion because he got bodied by one of those cold stare puffs.
Yeah, that blue mail was a good pickup now.
The Tempered Sword is definitely making this fight a lot easier, but he did He released his spin attack like a few frames too early, and Cold Stare punished him severely for it. Dig Dogger hates sound. News at 11.
Yeah, yeah, he did find the mushroom in this dungeon, so that's one item. And Compass there on Cold Stare, he might come back in and complete the rest of it. Yeah, he's going for all the items.
That's definitely an interesting strategy when, I don't know, the first half of Ice Palace is so slow. Having to do it twice, even if you're skipping, you know, taking the big loop-de-loop around the dungeon, I feel like it's still faster to do it the other way.
Well, he might have been thinking that if he got the second item off the boss, then he might have gambled, you know, skipping the third altogether. But one item, you know, probably is enough. That could potentially be the threshold we're looking at here. Either way, now here, you know, he can still find, you know, if he found one item on Cold Stare, then he could find like, the third item and skipped the iced tea room. That also might have worked.
All right, so let's talk items that we could potentially, or item locations that we could potentially get. We know there's 2 more items here in Ice Palace we'll be seeing pretty soon. I don't believe either runner has checked the Peg Cave. I don't believe we've seen... We've seen... I mean... Oh, sorry.
No, I mean, we haven't seen Peg Cave. We haven't seen Spike Cave. We haven't... Schwartz hasn't seen the 3 items in Hookshot Cave, and Wong hasn't seen Catfish. I think those are some of the differences between them at the moment.
Yeah, if Wong goes out of his way to visit Catfish, that'll give Schwartz some time back. Wong does have a crystal advantage. Both runners can go and clear out Desert Palace. It's just that there's nothing good in it.
And Schwartz still has to finish off the back of Skullwoods, and if he does that after doing Desert, then you know, he can also route in the pedestal. So that's one extra item that'll be pretty convenient to check.
I'm honestly starting to think that there might be a medallion on the pedestal, just with what we've been seeing so far. There's another junk item. Wow, almost neck and neck here in Ice Palace.
Yeah, definitely in sync. Not you know, not game wise, but in this particular map anyway.
Schwartz gaining a little bit of time, even just running through these rooms, just due to execution. And it looks like he's just going to visit Ice Tea Room here in a second after checking... Oh, I guess he already checked that hint, or he doesn't care about it.
I think this is our last item in Ice Tea.
Fortunately, getting into doorways is hard when the floor is made out of ice.
True, and we got the mushroom, but we still have to turn in the mushroom, so that could be leading to a medallion.
Yeah, on the plus side though, that's all our items in Ice Palace, so all we get is a fetch quest. I am the Schwartz will probably flute, turn in the mushroom, and I think the good play is to finish off Desert, and then do Swamp or Skullwoods and check the pedestal.
Yeah, I definitely think that's the best play. I don't know if it's something that you immediately think of. You might, you know, not like thinking of pedestal is sometimes easy to forget, but hopefully he'll think about it. And Wong missing the quick kill as well.
Okay, that is Bombos Medallion on from the mushroom. So the mushroom 100% required. I am the Schwartz probably saying Ixnay to any of that stuff we were just talking about. Probably heading right up the mountain to Turtle Rock.
You know, that's what he's doing. I would actually say that shouldn't change anything. You still have to do Desert and Skullwoods, you know, as part of the all dungeon mode anyway. So I still would have done those just to just finish them up.
Well, the difference here is that if Ether Medallion is in Turtle Rock, I Am the Schwarz will be able to do the Mire into Desert play. And then he'll finish off with Skull Woods. And then that's it. Ganon's Tower.
Yeah, I suppose that's a good point. I guess I was thinking that you could maybe find the items in, in Desert or on Pedestal and then save more time in Turtle Rock, but I think you're probably right on this one.
Yeah, so there are 6 items here in Turtle Rock and also Mimic Cave, so that dilutes the chance of a Pedestal required seed by a bit. So that makes me a little sad. So hopefully we find nothing good here in Turtle Rock. Hopefully it's just garbage, just like the garbage dungeon it is.
I like being able to skip the vanilla Big Key chest. I like being able to skip Laser Bridge and Mimic Cave, and if there's something like on Pedestal or whatever, he's gonna have to do a full clear to get all those items. But this is a good check. Do Hookshot Cave before you go in here. It's three more items, and it could save you some time if it's what you need. This will give him his half magic.
Yep. Pretty wrong. Also heading into the Turtle Rock play. Also has the Bombos Medallion in hand. And half magic achieved for I Am the Schwarz. They'll probably be entering Turtle Rock at almost the same time. Let's see how close it is. Not close at all, actually. This animation takes a lot longer than you think it does sometimes. Alright, one free hint here in Turtle Rock. Wow. A unique item in the Cane of Samaria. Thanks! Old news. Okay, so now we have the long and arduous trek through this dungeon that sucks. I'm not a fan of Turtle Rock. Oh, Ether Medallion. That is go mode for our runners. Now, the boots may still be required for the torch if the big key is there, but we already know the boots are in Ganon's Tower. So yeah, go mode achieved. I Am the Schwarz gets to slowly amble his way through this dungeon, and the remaining 3 dungeons after that, well, yeah, 3 dungeons, because I already did Agate Tower. Smartly using the blue cane here in this double roller room. I mean, when you have half magic, might as well do it.
God, I stepped away for a second and I missed the Ether Medallion?
Yep, first chest in Turtle Rock.
Well, I had a feeling I was wrong suggesting that desert play because you said it was bad and both runners ignored me. But now the proof is in.
So yeah, I think at this point, Pretty Wrong's advantage is solidified. I mean, he's already done Skull Woods and we know the pedestal isn't a thing. Ooh, I Am the Schwarz, unfortunately, messing up that cane strat a little bit. Wow, nice bug net.
That's a lot of work for a bug net, though. Wong also having a bad time. Gets caught in the block instead of being able to clip through it.
This room in particular is just a little weird to me. It doesn't feel like it belongs in a Zelda game. And I'm not even saying just because of the chain chomps. Just like the puzzle just seems really obtuse, having a random push block that you need to like lower the pegs for to get access to.
That is a confusing puzzle. I remember a couple years ago I did a playthrough of this game. It was my first playthrough in like a year or two, and I got stuck in that room. I completely forgot about the push block. It is a weird room. What I think is funny though is every time I see somebody play Randomizer, they still use like Samaria block strats as if the chain chomps are there.
Did Schwartz forget that he was in go mode? Because he did check the vanilla big key chest.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess he did.
Oh no. Well, pretty wrong. Actually, forgot the big key. That's good for Schwartz. That's gonna give him a bit of time back.
So that's where the big key was.
Okay.
All right, we both missed that one.
I am the Schwartz making the correct call to not skip the vanilla big key. Getting rewarded with a map. Not even sure why I even bothered to check that. He has pretty much everything he needs.
I think it's a big gamble to skip that in case a small key.
Forget about the small keys sometimes.
Yeah, but pretty wrong having to go back for the big key. That's a little bit of a time sink. Not the end of the world though. He's got a little bit of a lead.
Yep, he still has that Mothula lead, but he can't really afford to make mistakes like that if he wants to remain in the lead.
There's a small key in the roller room, so that's one for that room. We're gonna need one more on Laser Bridge. It'll probably be the fourth chest. It always is.
Or the last chest you check, regardless of the orientation.
That's what I meant. The fourth one that you check.
Although in this case, if you're probably gonna do it from front to back, because the other way makes more sense, I guess, if you have the boots and you can just dash through the room and take out the little bug thing, beetle. Two more chests in here. Oh, it's the third chest.
Come on, you got one more to do. Just finish it off.
Okay, so I'm the Schwartz a few rooms ahead, but still behind, unfortunately, for him at least.
Not by that much though. Like, just going to kill Mothula is not time consuming. He's not gonna have to check the bottom chest in the back there. He's just gonna, he'll skip that one. He's not gonna have to go back the big chest.
This could really come down to Ganon routing. And remember, the boots are still in play, and they are in Ganon's tower somewhere. If somebody just decides to go right side first, and maybe the boots are there, but the key is on left side or at Ice Armos or something, that might be interesting.
Yeah, this is going to be really close. I think probably we'll see GT and entrance within a minute of each other. I mean, it's going to be that close, I think.
All right.
They both got the hint in Meyer about the fire rooms, so that's going to really save them time looking for the big key.
Yep. Trinex has lost all his necks on Schwartz's side. He gets a crystal for his efforts, and Pretty Wrong going to be entering the Trinex fight himself. Now, I'm wondering if Schwartz is going to head into Skullwoods first, or do the Misery Mire Desert Palace Wombo combo first. I guess it doesn't really matter, because either way, you're going to have to go up the mountain, and that'll probably start with the flute.
Exactly. Exact same routing at this point. Just personal preferences in the order that you do it.
Now there's another hint that our runners need to remember, and that is that we do not need to go on left side Misery Mire at all.
Well, that's what I mentioned a minute ago, is that we do have that Misery Mire hint that we can avoid the left side. So even if the big key isn't the go mode big key, we'll know that we need to check the right side small chest.
Yeah, Misery Mire routing, and ever since this hint system was implemented, is kind of interesting if you get a hint for that left side. Schwartz, interestingly enough, going to desert first. Although I think that's going to waste a bit of time in terms of mirror transitions. I think it's faster to just do mire first, because you're in the mire area to begin with.
Yeah, and when you come out of mire, you can just walk right in the desert, so that's a little bit faster. And Wong is going into the mire route first, so that's going to save him a little bit of time. And as we've known for an hour now, the hook shot was our Misery Mire access because those boots are up in Ganon's tower. It's so much more fun to bonk across that gap than hook shot across that gap.
Yep, that bonk is totally within the logic. It seems like you can't make it sometimes, like just by looking at it, but you're like right at the edge, and you have to hold the opposite direction or else you fall right in. And Silver Arrow's going to make a complete mockery of Landmola's. That was about as fast as you're gonna get.
Yeah, that's a perfect Lamma fight. And hopefully Wong will get that. Are we gonna get God mode Mire? Small key, no God mode Mire.
I think it's still God mode if it's in the next chest, because you're not gonna have to double back at all.
I've had long debates about people whether the first chest on the right side or the bridge chest counts as God Mire. I think either of them does. I agree with you.
And it is not the God Mire, so we do have to visit the left side briefly just to hit a crystal switch. And iamtheschwarz is entering into Misery Mire as well. We'll probably end up doing more or less the same route.
Yeah, we could have the we have the invisible chest, and then we have the small chest on the right hand side. Hopefully Wong remembers, and yes, he does. You get a nice safety fairy there. That's also a good call.
Yeah, but when you have, the bow and silver arrows, health isn't really that big of a deal in this dungeon. Unfortunately, this dungeon is going to make us work for the big key, even though we know we don't have to go to the left side. But hopefully iamtheschwarz remembers it as well.
Yeah, this is as bad as the key can be, knowing the hints that we have. So if they didn't have the hint, this probably would still be the last chest they opened.
At the very least, it does deposit us right here, and this is a fairly quick way to get to the backside of the dungeon.
Yeah, it's not so bad. So I think Schwartz is probably gonna. I'm looking at the having to do Skull Woods here. I don't know. I mean, it's doing desert and doing Skull Woods probably about the same time.
Yeah, first Schwartz has to take the long way, get disappointed even though we had that nice hint. I don't know, I guess I'd probably estimate maybe like a minute or two advantage on prdwong's end. It doesn't take that long to get to Mothula, but doing it without the boots is a bit of a pain, even if we do have the ability to just flute to Kakariko.
Yeah, that really does actually make a difference. That's kind of a long walk, and there's some really nice straight paths that you can run there with the boots.
And I'm wondering if prdwong is going to end up making an interesting play in Ganon's Tower, or if Schwartz is as well. Like, if they do a pretty standard route, then prdwong is definitely going to have the advantage going to, pretty much all the way to Ganon, and it'll be his race to lose. But if one of them decides to make a less than standard play, then this race can definitely be interesting.
Yeah, execution has been, I'd say, pretty similar. I mean, I haven't seen like a huge execution difference. They both had some close calls. They both have essentially the same gear at this point. So it's just going to come down to routing. If we get lucky and we get like the first chest right side has the key, then it's going to eliminate any gambles that Wong could potentially lose time on.
All right, so pretty wrong. Heading into the final dungeon before Ganon's Tower. This is a really, really, really quick straightaway to the boss. He also has silver arrows and the bow, and will be able to make quick work of Lambolas unless things go awry. iamtheschwarz, on the other hand, is a few rooms before Vitreous. Again, with silver arrows is going to be a really quick fight, but yeah, he still needs to make his way up to Mothula. Pretty soon we're going to be doing the big key guessing game. Do you want to go over what that means?
Sure. After Pretty Wrong completes Lambolas, we'll start the guessing game, and viewers will get to guess between 1 and 22 which chest in Ganon's Tower they expect the big key will be in, and we'll base that number off whichever runner enters the tower first. If you're a subscriber to any of the speed gaming channels, or donated 250 bits or more to any of the channels, then you can be, if you win, you'll be on the leaderboard.
All right, we're gonna start that up in just a few seconds now, because that is our final pendant, our final dungeon completed before Ganon's Tower. And as always, I will ask, what do you think it's going to be?
Well, I have been... I'm not sure what I want. I want to know where the boots are, so I'm kind of like, I'm gonna guess that it is behind the ice armos, just because I really want the runners to have to actually kind of make a routing gamble in the tower. It's so close. How about you?
Honestly, I typically go with number 8, and I think that's what I typed in chat, but I think I'll say 3, because I kind of hope it's on the big key, or I kind of hope it's on the torch, and then we need to find the boots.
That would also be just fine. But yeah, we will stop the guessing once Pretty Wrong enters the tower. So last chance, you guys, get your guesses in. Quite a few guesses already. Probably got most of the numbers done. And Schwartz he's in the back of Skullwood, so he's got only a few more screens to go to. He's got the butter sword. It'll be a very fast 4-hit moth by kill, and then he'll be on his way up to the tower. Only a minute or two behind Pretty Wrong.
Mm-hmm. As a side bet, bet which chest or item location has the boots. That'll be good.
Oh, but the boots are going to be upstairs. That's my bet.
Oh yeah, that's true. There's how many chests upstairs? 4? 3?
4. Actually, I'm changing my mind. I'm going for boots in the big chest.
Oh, that would be great.
And nice Mothula, no damage taken from Schwartz. Yep. So that's his last dungeon, and he's on his way up to GT. And they both have Aga1 completed as well, so they can just drop into Ganon immediately.
Yeah, so no small keys on the right side. So we do need to see the left side. If iamtheschwarz does full left, or maybe like a Dark Magician strat, he might be able to catch up some time here. But otherwise, I'm feeling like not seeing a key there is actually really good for Pretty Wrong.
Definitely, and the no boots on the torch dream is dead, unfortunately.
Oof, Schwartz took the wrong thing.
Oh!
There's our Boots! Boots in number 4.
Oh, wow.
I don't know who guessed number 4, but it also doesn't matter.
Nah, it's got to feel good to get the boots out of the way.
Yeah, that is really good, especially for the ascent. That's gonna make things a lot nicer.
Yeah, there's the rooms like the hallways, like the conveyor belt rooms, where you just, you're so used to having the boots. If you have to actually fight off the guards, it's just annoying. But that's 8 chests down and no key yet. So we're doing full left side, and it could still be behind ice armor, so I could still get this one.
Yeah, could also be in this chest. I never see it in this chest. It's like a fundamental impossibility for it to be in that chest, as far as I'm concerned.
I think you're right. I think it's actually like less probable for it to be there. I've seen it there, but it seems like it's so infrequent. Here's 10, 11, 12, and 13. Rupees, bombs, a rupee, and 13 is also
wow. Bombs. That's like a vanilla rando room. Just pure trash.
Yeah, and Schwartz is man, he just damage boosting through those Lionels, not even trying to slow down at all.
Yep, and he's also entering Ganon's tower. He'll be a few minutes behind.
I like SAGTG in chat. The confirmation bias chest. It does feel that way, doesn't it?
Here's our big key in Bob's chest, which is chest number 14.
Yeah, that's number 14, Bob's chest. So unfortunately, we don't get to see my ice armors fight, but let's see anybody pick 14?
We shall see. It was Epitaph
yeah.
with X's around it. So GG's to Epitaph for being the first and closest.
Yeah, GG's Epitaph. I guess it's your first win because I don't see you there in the leaderboard, but you got to get one more win to show up, apparently. 2 seems to be our threshold.
I haven't gotten a single win so far this tournament, and I feel like that is a disgrace. Oh, pretty wrong. Down a half a heart. Gonna be taking the safety room here. Probably a good idea.
Yeah, we've actually seen both of these runners come pretty close to death. More than you typically would see, but we haven't actually we've had maybe 1 death early on the way to Ice Rod Cave, and I think that was it though. It's been pretty good.
Yep, this gauntlet is going fairly well so far. The first 2 rooms not posing a ton of trouble. Unfortunately, we got some Trolley Zazaks, which want to stay as far away from Link as possible. In this room, which, for the love of me, I can never get the one Zazak dead with the dash, even though I see everybody else do it. Not going to be bothering to top off our HP, but we are going to be bothering with a bit of mistiming on Lambo 2. Luckily, with the butter sword in hand, it's only 2 slashes, even though we missed it on the first phase.
Yeah, Lambo 2 can get away from you pretty easily. It's definitely harder than it looks.
It's that fireball shooter. It always gets me.
Yeah, that little Medusa guy.
Ooh, unfortunately messing up this second Wiz room a little bit. Having to wait an extra cycle. I am the Schwarz. Unfortunately, I don't know why he was trying to do the bomb jump there. He does have boots, unless he just forgot.
Yeah, he was. I mean, he was trying to damage boost himself over the warp tile. He's having a little bit of trouble in this room, unfortunately, on the hammerhead beetles, deciding just to take the warp.
I think that was probably. I don't think that was intentional. Sometimes you just walk like 1 pixel too high. Yeah, I think he just forgot that he got the boots.
Well, it's not like the game hasn't been telling him, you know, all this time where the boots were.
Like, if you're gonna give me the boots this late, I'm not gonna use them.
Yeah, I think you're right, because he's not bonking all across this gap. He's setting up for a bomb jump. I think you're right. I think he might not have noticed that he picked them up, unfortunately. That's a nice bomb jump, though.
Yeah, at the very least, he's not going to be... this isn't going to be like a deciding factor in the race. He's already significantly behind. So, forgetting about... Oh, he remembered.
Oh,
remembered he has the boots.
Gotta go fast.
Gotta go fast, somewhat quickly.
Yeah, Schwarz on his way up the tower now, has the GT big key. But Wong is already up on Aga 2 room, so they have everything else completed, so this is definitely Wong's race to lose.
Yep, the Geometry Wizard Act 2 fight is a little annoying, especially when he throws out blue balls like that. Ooh.
Not getting good patterns. This one's pretty nice. This could be a double.
There we go. I thought he was down to like 1 HP. And that is it. Agahnim is down for the count twice. I don't know if that's not a TKO. It's just a KO. But I guess
I don't know, man. But
is Ganon like round 3, like, or what? I don't know if Ganon counts as part of the Agahnim fight, or if Agahnim counts as part of the Ganon fight. But we do have some facts about slugs, and with the butter sword in hand, this is going to be really quick.
yeah, he is down to 5 hearts though, and I don't know how many safeties he has. I mean, they only got 2 bottles this game. Magic won't be an issue, but does have to worry about taking some hits. In the phase 3 already, that's nice.
Alright, 3rd phase, Ganon not very teleport happy today, which is nice. We did indeed find the silver arrows in Death Mountain, thank you very much. They came from a kindly old man. Oh! That was a little scary.
Yeah, he got a double immediately, which is, I mean, that was a really close double. Ganon was right on the edge there.
Yep, and that is it. 4 silver arrows, and the Ganon goes down. And that is going to be good game for prdwong. And yeah, another win for this group stage.
That was a very, very clean Ganon fight. Official SRL time 1 hour 53 minutes and 38 seconds for prdwong.
Not bad if you're in an all dungeon seed.
Absolutely, and that gives him a 5-4 record now, and that will put Schwarz down to 3-4. Most of this group, the group E, has been pretty close, with one person dominating and one person having some trouble, but the other 4 have been pretty much in the middle.
And it looks like we are joined by prdwong himself, GG. congratulations on your win.
GG guys, thanks.
So, I guess first and foremost, well, what caused the play to Zora, the spontaneous play to Zora?
That was definitely me not thinking, but I got that hint in Aga Tower that there's a unique item that can be bought, and I was like, oh, whatever, that's nothing. That's like there's too many items, and then. As I was going to pot, I was like, well, how many items can actually be bought? And so I looked it up, and it was only 2, right? It's only Bottle Vendor and Zora. So by the time I got to the front of pot, I'm like, this is stupid. Like, I didn't get anything from Bottle Vendor, so I should go straight for Zora. Like, it might have the bow or probably has something that leads to the bow, and then I won't have to double dip pot. So I mirrored out, and I tried to save my mirror, and went to Zora. Of course, the bow ended up being in the exact wrong place. And then now, talking after the race, iamtheschwarz just reminded me that the flute was on Bottle Vendor. So it was bad all around.
Well, that bad call definitely gave you a bit of an advantage.
Okay.
It basically kept you from double dipping Eastern Palace, which is what Schwartz did. Probably one of the reasons why he's behind by only a few minutes.
Yeah, maybe I 1.5 dipped, I guess, because walking all the way back to pot is that was a big waste.
Well, it was interesting because you had already sequence broken the fire rod, so we all thought you were gonna do catfishing in Zora, and then you went there in the light world, and it completely threw off our guesses. Finding hookshot and then Schwartz finding hammer, and you guys both met up on Dark Mountain.
Yeah, that definitely should have been what I should have done. Like after beating Aga, just go to catfish to get Zora. According to my thinking, I just didn't figure it out in time. Of course, if I had remembered that I had gotten the flute, then I wouldn't have gone there at all. But...
Yeah, it was a pretty interesting seed, especially when it went down to like you only needed medallions to keep going, and the game just really shuttled you towards the few remaining dungeons you could clear.
Yeah, it felt really slow, like coming up on an hour, and we still didn't have hookshot and hammer, and I think I hadn't even found fire rod at the time, and no bow, like no medallions. Everything seemed to be missing. I was like, oh man, I hope, like at that point you start wondering that maybe your opponent like checked some out of the way location early on, and then they're just way ahead of you because they just they could route everything together.
And that is Ganon down for iamtheschwarz, finishing about 4 minutes behind in the end. He cut it pretty close there with only half a heart, but I mean, a Ganon kill is a Ganon kill, and we need all the Ganon kills we can get in this tournament. So we'll be seeing if he wants to join us here in a little bit. Do you have any other thoughts on that seed?
No, that was pretty much it. I mean, I guess following the hints helped me. I went straight to Waterfall because of there's an item underwater hint, and I gambled that it was there instead of Swamp. So
yeah, that was pretty good.
So was this your pick? This race?
This was Schwartz's pick.
Okay.
Cool. Was this your first race, second race?
This was our second, and we're going to do the third one in about an hour or so.
Cool. Do you know what the settings are yet? I don't know when that's revealed.
It's some sort of key sanity, I think. I tried to get it into swordless, but the luck was not with me.
Well, good luck on key sanity. Hopefully you've got a good tracker. And hopefully you can hammer jump.
That'll depend on what random spread I get.
Oh,
Yeah.
do you only play with the random?
Yeah, I'm mostly having fun, so I just pick random sprites. And obviously some of them are harder to do things like hammer jump, but we'll see.
Cool. Don't know if Schwartz is going to be joining us.
He's been in the Twitch chat, so I don't think he's going to be joining us on the Discord. He's been answering a couple questions there in text, but both of you guys. I just taking a look at the schedule here. If you want to see these guys race again, their next race is in 1 hour on Speed Gaming 3. It's another all dungeons mode, but it's Key Sanity this time, so it should be pretty similar. It's 1 hour on Speed Gaming 3.
And we definitely have a lot of randomizer action throughout the evening and rest of the week, and I guess rest of time. There's a race starting up right now on Speed Gaming 5, Blaine versus ALG Andy, which should be really good. Those two are some really good players. I don't know if you've heard of this Andy guy. He's pretty new, but he's definitely been making some waves. So yeah, a lot of randomizer. Shout outs to our tracker, Reg, who's in chat here, Regaro. Shout outs to my co-commentator Tiru. Shout outs to Speed Gaming for hosting this, as well as a link to the past randomizer. So follow those channels, like all of them. Every single Speed Gaming channel, I think it's 1 through 5, 1 through 6. And then link to the past randomizer 1 through 4.
Yeah, 1 through 5 on the ALTTP channels, and then 1 through 6 on the SG ones.
Yep, shout outs to our runners for putting on such a good show. I mean, All Dungeons is pretty comfy, but they definitely made it seem a little tense with some of the plays and some of the item locations. So it was a good showing all around. And I guess shout outs to you, the viewers. Without the viewers, this tournament would be very sad.
Absolutely. I'll add my thanks to the runners, and especially having to endure 2 hints telling them that they're not going to get the boots. But there are links in chats for I Am the Schwarz and Pretty Wrong, so give them both a follow. Like I said, there's another race starting up on Speed Gaming 5, and then you can see these guys in an hour on Speed Gaming 3. I'll end up with saying, my thanks to Reg, of course, for keeping us honest, and staff of Speed Gaming for handling the restream, and of course, Ruble. It's been a pleasure to co-com with you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
See you.